Story.
Hello, welcome to Chapter 3 Podcast, the show for readers of science fiction, fantasy, and romance. This is Season 3, Episode 7. Today we are beginning a read-along of the Dark Olympus series by Katee Robert, which is very exciting. We're going to be discussing Neon Gods tonight, and joining us, we have two very special guests, Shay from Shay Geeks Out and Brianna from Four Paws in a Book. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Tell people a little bit about yourselves and where they can find you.
Brianna, you go first.
Oh, okay. I'm Brianna. I'm from the channel Four Paws in a Book. So it's 4 spelled out on YouTube. It's the number 4 everywhere else. Instagram and Twitter and everything like that. I read predominantly fantasy, like epic adult high fantasy, and then contemporary romance, which I understand is a very wide spectrum. I'm also really liking horror lately. So that's what you can find on my channel.
Excellent.
I'm Shay from Shay Geeks Out. I read a little bit of everything when it comes to books. I do read a ton of manga. A lot of people find me because of my manga content. So it's about half and half books, half manga, I would say these days. And I read a lot of manga that a lot of other people don't read. So if you're looking things outside of the mainstream, I tend to be that person.
Nice. Yeah. And you can
you can follow me at Shay Geeks Out everywhere.
Yes. And they are linked in the video description and in the show notes if you're listening to us. So we're super excited to be doing this read along for the Dark Olympus series. So for context, for anybody who hasn't read them, and these will be spoilery discussions, but we'll try to do the first section non-spoiler. I don't know that spoilers matter as much in these, but whatever, non-spoiler. And then we'll move into more spoilery stuff later. But for context, these are lightly speculative, like a modern take. I mean, very lightly, not very, very lightly
like magical realism.
Yeah, it is more like magical realism.
Yeah.
But like a modern take on Greek mythology as dark romance with kind of a mafia vibe, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a political system, kind of.
Yes.
It's very political.
It is
my favorite.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
And Neon Gods is a Hades and Persephone retelling. My favorite Hades and Persephone retelling.
Say?
I can't say it's my favorite because Lore Olympus has my heart and soul forever.
Okay.
So outside of Lore Olympus, so anything not like drawn, then yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, I don't know where y'all want to start with this, but is this a reread for everybody?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know how you find somebody. I mean, I'm sure someone exists. Someone will tell us this is their first time, but
Their first time reading it. Yeah.
I feel like, it's been out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Almost. So
what is time?
Indeed.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait. Yeah, it'll be.
That was 2021.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
So there we go. Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Man.
And we've been getting, 2 books a year for it.
Yeah.
I do like Drag Me Up as well a lot. Just
this is a good point.
Chat.
Yes.
They might be tied.
Drag Me Up yet.
Okay, Drag Me Up
I know I'm gonna
is
love it,
good.
but I haven't gotten there yet.
I would say
haven't
for
read
like
it
the traditional published, it's this, and then like my indie would be Drag Me Up. I don't know why in my mind for some reason Drag Me Up, though it is this, it's like a whole nother thing to me in a weird way.
That's fair.
Drag Me Up deals with a lot of deeper topics than Neon Gods will. So if you're looking for something with a little more meat to it, Drag Me Up will probably fit you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is also a good retelling. I did really like Drag Me Up, but I've got to say, I still think Neon Gods, for me, like I rate it is more of a home run or something.
You can see that. It's just very different. They're very different books too at the end of the day, but another awesome option if you're looking for a erotic and delightful.
For sure.
Sorry, I just thought.
Sorry, comments
all
in
at
the
the
chat,
same
y'all.
time. It just started giggling. So there's that.
Okay. So thoughts on this? I mean, obviously we all liked it, but how was it rereading it? And how did you rate this book?
I honestly liked it better on a reread than I did the first time, but I think that's because I understood more of the Dark Olympus world. Izzy and I talked about this a little bit the other day, or yesterday when I was reading it, is that there are parts of it that make more sense on reread than they did the first time, as in the political space that we're working in. But yeah, overall, like, it's just good. It's a good time. If you're looking for a good time, like, it's the way to be.
Yeah.
See,
I agree.
So sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say on reread, I think it was actually not quite as good. Just because like of the like technical, like the writing aspect, I was like, oh, that some of it felt a little bit redundant. Like she would go over the scene a couple times. But I like Shay was saying, I really liked how you got a little bit of a bigger picture now that you know the rest of the characters. And so it was like seeing Psyche as a side character was really cool because like you're like, oh yeah, I love her.
Psyche forever. She's just one of my favorite plus size heroines. I cannot wait to discuss that one.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and this is the thing, is I am not caught up on the series. I've read the first two, and that's it. So,
okay. See, so I'm already through book 3. I did stop after Wicked Beauty because of the read along. I was like, well, I don't want to reread multiples in a year of the same book. But
I'd read Radiant Sin about halfway through, and then I had to deal with the family death and stuff. And so like I put it down and just went to rereads because I just needed comfort. So I only ever got halfway through. I was really liking it. I just got super distracted and haven't gotten back to it. So I'll probably just start it over at this point, but I can tell you I was enjoying it.
I similarly to Shay though, I felt like rereading this, I really enjoyed it even more. I listened to the audio, so for me any writing stuff doesn't always stick out as much. You know, it's kind of like reading some of the authors who use like M dashes excessively. You don't see it when you listen to it. But I mean, I feel like you can see like the bones of like the world Katie's building a lot better having read like through book 3. And I felt like it was like seeing Psyche, obviously, like you're like, wait a minute, hold on. But it's been 2 years-ish probably since I read that book. So that helps.
Yeah. We had a question. Is Drag Me Up a retelling also? And yes, it is. It's by R.M. Virtues. It is an indie Hades and Persephone retelling that also is kind of like a dark romance mafia-esque thing with a trans heroine. And yeah, it's good. It's very good. Yeah, I liked this pretty similarly, I think, upon reread to how I liked it the first time. And I really enjoyed it. And it was one of those ones where I didn't go in, because I am not normally much of a darker romance reader. And Katee Robert is one of the only people I'll try with it because I trust her to do a good job with consent. So, which a lot of people don't. And I really, really loved this. I was so invested in the relationship between Hades and Persephone and their personal growth through that relationship. I just thought this was so beautiful. And it's funny to me because I know it's not necessarily the fan favorite of the series. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't love this one or like others better, but it really works for me.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it does something that we haven't seen enough in the retellings. If that makes sense. I feel like a lot of them, like many of the retellings / reimaginings of Hades and Persephone, I think lean so heavily on like trying to not be what it's saying it is in a way. Like it'll just take things that are in weird ways. Like this, I felt like it made sense. It had the right world building to it. It wasn't like, I mean, I see what you're trying to do here, but you're kind of also just almost doing a Beauty and the Beast trope instead of Hades and like they kind of mash the two because they're very similar.
Yeah,
and like it just comes out weird. To me,
Yeah.
at least.
Whereas I feel like this, to me, did a really good job of actually retelling it, but doing it in a way that gives Persephone agency
Mhm.
and I think it's clever the way it's done. I don't know if anybody else thinks this, but like having it be something where Hades puts on a front to a certain extent. And
Mhm.
so like what you see is not necessarily what's going on behind the scenes, I thought was a kind of a clever workaround.
And to me, that's something that's key in a good Hades and Persephone retelling.
Yeah.
Like, he
Agreed.
needs to be, he's got to be like the boogeyman with a heart of gold. Like, if he's not that, I'm not enjoying my time.
It's true.
Right.
Like, I can handle like a hero that's dark and broody and all those kinds of things. But if he is not gone for his woman, like, it just doesn't work.
You
for
have to
me
have
in
a cinnamon
anything.
roll at the heart.
Right. And I want to take a second and talk about Izzy's comment about Beauty and the Beast retellings and how those can kind of get merged with Hades and Persephone sometimes. And I have to completely agree. A lot of the Hades and Persephone retellings I've read lean more into the tropes that you'd find in a Beauty and the Beast. And being a retelling purist as I am, I used to have an entire like book club about retellings. This is something that always bothers me because if you're going to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling, just straight up be a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Don't try to be something else that it's not. There are lots of great Beauty and the Beast retellings out there. If you ever want to do an episode on that, please invite me. I have lots to say, obviously. But when it comes to good Hades and Persephone, they're a lot harder to find, I think, because they lean too heavily into those Beauty and the Beast tropes that Izzy mentioned. And I just had to say that I agree. And yes, we definitely need more really good Hades and Persephone retelling. So if anyone wants to write one, let us know. We'll read it for you.
100%. Like, I need that trope pulled out so badly. Any of the ones I've attempted.
Well, there are also some like retellings that do genuinely retell it, but do it too faithfully, because the original Hades and Persephone has some real issues with consent.
I don't need a faithfully accurate Hades and Persephone. Like, there's a vibe, there's a like expectation, right? Like, she goes to the underworld or the deemed underworld city or whatever. Like, you know, the alpha mellowness of a Hades character. You know, he's here to be in charge and he's going to take care of you, but he's also like a super sweetie pie who's going to clean your feet off because you ran barefoot.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
I think that's one of the things that Katee Robert does so well is take the true intention of all of the Greek retellings, because like most of the Greek retellings in its like truthfulness are terrible stories.
Yeah.
The women were done dirty.
They really were.
If you want a fantastic book that defends the women of Greek mythology, Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes. Absolutely stunning. One of my favorite non-fiction reads of last year.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's one of the things that she does so well, is it still is like the true intent behind it, but still like gives the women in the story so much power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I also think, right, with this, it's fun because we get nods to the original. Like the first time I read it, I died that her safe word is pomegranate.
I still had a good giggle with that. I can't lie. And it's even worse now that I've read Midnight Sun, because the amount of times pomegranate is said in that. It just made it funnier for me. I had to throw that in there because I'm just like, it just made me think of that and it made me laugh real hard.
Do you think it's possible Twilight could be a Hades and Persephone retelling?
No,
that's what Stephanie Meyer wanted to call it like 20 years ago.
If it was published today, that is how she would market it. Or like it was published in the zeitgeist of like Hades and Persephone retelling. 100% how it would have been marketed. Yeah,
of
like,
course.
He's this ancient vampire. He wants to take her to the underworld of being a vampire, but he doesn't because he doesn't want to taint her. And it'd be like, that would be the marketing.
Yep.
Okay.
And he sparkles.
Here's my little thing about Twilight. I'm going to say it and I'm going to be done. Everybody expects Edward to act like a human. He's a freaking vampire. Of course he's not going to act like a human. So, yes, he's awake all night. He doesn't have anything better to do than go and stare at the girl he has a crush on. Like, he's weird, but at the same time, he's not human, so you can't expect him to act like a human.
I mean,
He plays at being human.
Yeah.
This is no,
So
you're
there's
not
my
wrong.
thing. I'm done talking about Twilight now.
It's
I just have to throw it out.
okay.
Right now, I'm imagining the marketing material now, and it's amazing. The
Yeah.
TikToks for it. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we have a comment, and yes, I wanted to mention this. They said, I read this a few years ago. Isn't one of the dogs named Cerberus, or there's 3 of them? Yes, there are 3 dogs. One of them is named Cerberus, and then it's Scylla and what did she name the other one? It was another like monster from Greek mythology. I can't remember now. But yes, I love that. Like that they like adopt 3 puppies. It's such a cute.
So rather than it being Cerberus, a 3-headed dog, she just adopted 3 dogs.
Adopted 3 dogs.
We love dogs around here, so adopting more dogs is just fine. Nothing wrong with that, right, Brianna?
Exactly. I remember the first time I read this book, when we got to that scene, I was like, I officially love Hades.
Yeah.
It's
Charybdis.
It was so good.
That's
I was like trying to Google it.
Yeah, I was like trying to remember in my head Charybdis. Yep. Yeah, I like it. What's going on with my camera?
Webcam?
No, it doesn't want to. Oh, there we go.
There it goes.
Like
Okay,
went out
you're
of
back
focus.
in focus.
So where to even start with this? There's so much.
I feel like we gotta go spoilers next.
Yeah,
I don't know how much more we can talk around.
Okay. All right.
Spoiling.
Okay. What do people want to talk about? The politics, the relationship, the like what?
Can we just talk about the fact that the caretaking that Hades gives her just gives me everything I need in this world?
It's so
Izzy and I were
good.
talking about this too. We're like, it's the caretaking in this one.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
And that is really part of what makes this such a good retelling is the way he takes care of her. Because it's not just the big things, it's those little things. Like he noticed that her feet were ravaged. A lot of other people wouldn't until like they flashed their feet. But he noticed right away that something was wrong and immediately went to take care of her. And
or
like,
that she hadn't had a
just
proper meal in 3 days.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's just that level of caretaking that he has that is just brilliant. And I gotta love Katee for it. Like, how can you not?
But he did it in a way that like didn't.
It wasn't like overly pushy and alpha
her.
either.
Like she was still a strong woman, and you never thought that she wasn't. But like he was taking care of her because he wanted to.
Well, and I think he saw that she needed someone to do that for her in her life because she'd never really experienced that in a lot of ways, right? Like,
right, because she was so busy taking care of everybody else.
Exactly. Which I love that. I think maybe like
we all do that too.
I was gonna say, it gives older sibling vibe.
It's really true. And that's the thing is like, I'm an older sibling and I'm like, yeah, you do. Like you're always taking care of everybody else and like putting your needs on the back burner. And so having somebody who is noticing that. And then I love her kind of arc of learning to prioritize herself and like learning that her needs are important. I think that's so beautiful.
I do think that's a key part of a good Hades and Persephone as well. Because Hades is supposed to be her partner in these retellings. And so him elevating her to where he is or vice versa, like is always so good for me because they should be on the same playing field because they're partners. That's what good partners are. You're on the same playing field or close enough that you make it work.
Yeah.
The scene with her on the throne.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
So good.
Any and every like sex scene in this book to me was just Katee is really good at that. Obviously, like it's an expectation in her books at this point for me that I'm gonna just leave them going, yes, more of this. But like everyone in this just felt so good and like so fun to read and like they were just having a blast together every single time. But also like obviously, though it is more somewhat on the erotic end of the scale, I would say like you feel the romance part of it, how it moves their relationship forward every single time. And I just they're they're so good together.
Yeah.
I will say I listened to this one as an audio this time, and I absolutely hated the female narrator when she was saying Hades like dialogue.
Oh,
she was,
I
like,
have to agree.
growling.
We must have listened to the same narration because, man, that did not work for me.
It was
I
like,
got
oh,
through
no.
it fine, but I was just like, man, she cannot do a good male voice.
right. Like Hades was great, and then I was like, and then she would just like growl his line.
It was bad. It was bad. Like
It really was.
I remember
the first time,
complaints.
so I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
When it came out, there were complaints about that, and I was like, I was confused. I was like, Hades sounds fine, and then I like got to where she's reading his lines, and I was like, oh no, this is not good.
Yeah.
We have confirmation in the comments that she was
Yeah.
terrible.
She
Yeah,
was-
I read
was
it
not
physically.
meant for me. I do
No.
think future audios have gotten better with that because I
was gonna
was
say, I don't
listening to
remember it
Radiant
being
Sin
a
on
problem
audio
there.
and it was much better.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I read this physically the first time, and so this time I did the audio as well. And
Yeah, the first time I actually got it as an ARC, so I read it as an ebook like 4 months before everybody else, and I'm like, yes, everybody read this.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think what works too for their relationship is that Persephone so easily just sees through the facade that Hades puts up, and it just like breaks him kind of. It's just so lovely.
He
It's
doesn't
like
know what to
she
do with someone who sees
I
him so clearly,
know.
and it just makes me love him more.
Mhm. I love it. Like
Well, and
she
it's what
sees
he
who
needs.
is.
Like they both see
Mhm.
what the other one needs, like in the right ways. And I just
Again,
Yeah.
that's what you
The
need
best
in a good
dynamic.
partnership, and I will
exactly.
say that forever because I lived in a
Partnership.
really bad one for a long time.
Listen, I love a partnership romance. Like it's so good when it's like, yes, they fit together, they work together, they're on each other's team and have each other's back. And I love it.
Healthy relationships. Give us all the healthy relationships. Pretty
Seriously.
Yes.
Well, and I think with dark romance, a lot of times they kind of default to very unhealthy relationships. And so this is just such a like breath of fresh air that you can still do dark mafia type romance while not sacrificing being decent human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. And like other authors do it. And it's like, I wish more of the dark authors would do it because I love those books. But sometimes I'm like, can y'all just like be on each other's team for a hot minute and like take down the bad?
We're not even
like,
asking for the whole book, just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, and they do prioritize consent. You know, it's like before anything happens, he's like, I'm going to sit you down and ask you tons of questions about all the things that you've never thought
all your
of
preferences,
doing.
all your
all your
fantasies,
preferences,
what are
what
you
you're
comfortable
into,
with?
what you're not.
Like,
Yes.
all you have to say is yes or no. It's not a hard question.
Yeah.
Like,
And he lets her back out of stuff, which I love. That she's like, yeah, I want to do this, and he's like, if you're not comfortable, like we don't have, like nothing has to ever happen. I'm like,
the scene where they were supposed to do like their first public thing, when like she had said yes, but like he could just see it in her face, so like she didn't want to, and he was like, actually, I don't want to do this, and that was just so great.
Yes, I love it.
Yay!
Yay!
Consent is important in any relationship, whether it's a marriage relationship or you're dating and you're sexual. Like consent
100%.
is always important.
And
being
sexy.
someone who did not get consent in her first marriage, a lot of the time, I know the importance.
Yeah,
it is, and it's fun how it's on page in a way that is like I know people want to be like it's not hot, but like it is. It's actually hotter on page in these books the way it's handled.
Yeah, like he makes it hot.
Yeah, exactly. And I've read other books that do it too. Like this isn't the only one, but
weaves a really good consent line within the sex scenes has always worked well for me. It's part of why I love her romances so much. I know not everybody gets along with her writing, and you know, that's fair. I can see why. But because of that, and a lot of authors don't take the care and the time to make sure that that consent moment is still sexy, that it just makes her stuff stand out because she makes it both. And not all authors can do that.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. We have a comment saying the only Hades and Persephone retelling I've read is A Touch of Darkness, and a couple of the sequels. I was kind of burned off the couple, but y'all make me want to read this one. Yeah, I actually did a vlog where I read A Touch of Darkness and Neon Gods, and man,
that's quite the combo.
Oh, yeah, I loved Neon Gods, as you can see. I was not a fan of Touch of Darkness.
Yeah, I did
don't
a while
like
ago.
It. Period. End of story. I don't like it.
Yeah.
No.
I similarly did one, Bethany too, and I didn't read Neon Gods in it. I read other ones, and I just remember leaving A Touch of Darkness going, why is this so popular? And it's fine. Like, if you love it, you love it. I was confused in comparison to having read, like, Neon Gods and stuff. Like,
you like what you like. It was not my Hades and Persephone retelling.
No.
I think, Bethany, after watching your vlog, was when I picked up Neon Gods. For the first time. I was like, this sounds like a book that I need now.
Yeah. I love that. That's so great.
But yeah, when it comes to Touch of Darkness, it just doesn't. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Like, the dynamic between them is almost juvenile for what I need in a Hades and Persephone. Like, they were bickering about the dumbest stuff, and it just annoyed the snot out of me. I can't lie.
Yeah. Like, the power dynamics weren't great. She was dumb and young and annoying, and I was like, why do you like her?
It didn't make sense.
No,
it didn't. And it didn't need to be 3 books with a spinoff of his POV or whatever. Too much.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think there's a lot to be
coming out in both. One that's hers and one that's his.
I'm just going to say there's something to be said about containing a retelling to one book when it's Hades and Persephone. Yeah. I don't feel like there's that much there to be like, let me stretch this out over a giant series.
I don't know, but there are people who love it.
My only exception to that is Lore Olympus, because they're not doing just Hades and Persephone. They're talking about a lot of other lore, but the main focus is Hades and Persephone and what's happening around them. But they tackle all different types of Greek mythology. So if you're looking for one that you could read for free on Webtoon, definitely do. It's like my favorite Webtoon ever.
Awesome. So there is also a lot of politics in this, a surprising amount. And I think some people don't like that, to be honest. I think there are people who wanted, like, why is there all this extra plot? Just deliver me the romance. I don't feel that way. I love that, like, the romance part is a little bit of a slow burn. I love
the fantasy reader in me that loves fantasy that thrived on this political dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't think there's enough there if you don't have some sort of politics around the gods. What's the point? Why are we here if it's going to be a 300 plus pager? You know, like, we need to know. There needs to be a world building happening to, like, showcase what's going on.
And I think she did a fabulous job with the, like, creating the world building and it being like these elected positions rather than like them actually being gods.
Which I liked because it made them mortal, it made them human, it made them a little more relatable.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of Hades and Persephone retellings are like them actually being god-like characters. Mm-hmm. And just having this, like, they're, Demeter's in charge of the food supply and the food chain, and like they're, Poseidon's in charge of the docks and the waters, and it made so much sense to me.
Yeah. I think it really works. And then you have sort of the political infighting where the stakes are actually high.
Is a power drunk asshole. I can't say it any different. Like, there's no other way to say that.
He is the worst.
And he's so freaking creepy. Like, even just reading him, I could almost,
and she captured it so well.
Crawley's on my body because she captured it so well. I can't talk. I am sorry.
Words are hard.
It's fine. But yeah, I love that about this. Like, she what we know of the myths, like, I've not reread them in ages, obviously, because, like, but like I don't like reading old things. That's fine.
Did you really just say I don't like reading old things? I love you so much.
I don't.
Listen, we're lucky I got her to read a Jane Austen.
Exactly.
And you
This
picked
is
my favorite, so yay. That's
I
my
know.
favorite Jane Austen.
But you know, like I'm not gonna go revisit them because like I also feel like culture in the zeitgeist, like I know enough about them. I'm not going to go write one, so like who cares? But like she captured what we know like foundationally from like growing up reading Riordan books and all that, or those bits and pieces I feel like of like the character archetypes that like are familiar. Like we all know Zeus is a dick. You know, we know about Hercules being his son and kind of being off doing who the fuck knows what.
Yep.
Well, we know
right
what
now.
Hercules was doing because we've read Wicked Villains.
I know, but you know what I'm
Well,
saying.
I haven't
like,
yet.
No?
No.
Wait, you haven't read her other series?
Oh. Some.
Did you do
some
Learn
of
My
them.
Lesson? Okay.
No.
Learn
you
My Lesson
didn't-
is the important one.
I haven't
Learn
read
My
that.
Lesson is the Hades, Meg, and Hercules.
Mm-mm.
Thruple.
I haven't read it.
Did you try the first one and hated it? Because I don't think you would like the first one.
I
first one's
read
not
the
good.
first. I didn't. You know what? The stuff I've read of that series, I never reviewed because it was before I was like, But I did read the first one. It was okay.
The first one's not great. It's
not the one for you.
No.
No. I think you would like Learn My Lesson.
Okay.
And also Worthy Opponent.
Oh, Worthy Opponent is the best in that series, period.
No, the Beast is, but it's fine. We're the
The
opponent.
Beast
That's
is
my
a very
least
close
favorite.
second for me, and then it's Learn My Lesson.
The
Like
Beast
that's my
is my
top
least
three.
favorite one.
Interesting. I can see why.
I'm
though.
a sucker.
But I don't like second chance romance, so that's kind of
That's why, like, I
That
can
makes
see
sense.
why though.
Yeah. But
The
can
Sea
we-
Witch is my least favorite, so that's
I
Honestly,
love
same.
the little Easter egg that the new Zeus was named was
Mhm.
Perseus. And I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
This is like a little Easter egg.
Yes. That's good. Let's see. We have somebody said this would have been boring to me without the political part of it. Fair, yes. Expected it to be way more fantastical, but really it's only the barrier that's fantastical. Yeah, accurate. And I think that works for this. The
Again,
various
magical
barriers,
realism. There's one magical
Yeah.
element, and then everything else
Yeah.
is fine.
pretty much. Another comment said, I liked how the politics played into the gods' traditional tropes and archetypes, so it still felt like a mythology story as a whole instead of just plopping Hades and Persephone into our world. Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. That is 100% it. Like what she captured
Yes.
perfectly. I feel like in a way.
There is a comment too about Hermes with her mimicry was fantastical, but everyone else felt very human, which also I've got to say, Hermes is like my favorite.
I
Mhm.
was gonna say Hermes is my
Yeah.
favorite character,
Like-
and I know because she said who is in each book going forward,
Mhm.
and the last one just says redacted, and I know that's gonna be Hermes. We're gonna have to wait till the end.
If it's not Hermes' book, I'm gonna riot.
Is
Oh
it
my
Hermes
God.
though, or is it? I wonder.
It just says redacted, and
Redacted.
I know.
redacted.
Well, because is it Dionysus who's Ace?
Yes.
Or is it
Uh-huh.
Hermes? Okay. I was like, wait,
Dionysus.
did I flip? I flipped
No,
in my
yeah.
head. We're good.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, no, my brain flipped them. It's fine. Because they're always together in the best ways. Just
Yeah.
being
Perfect.
disasters.
They are
I
the perfect
love
like
them.
disaster
Foils for each other. Yes.
like friendship
Yes.
that they just
Mhm.
want to go and create chaos everywhere, and I love
Yeah.
that.
Every
I
single
love them.
time he like walks into the kitchen and Hermes is just hanging and he's like, why are you here? My favorite thing.
How did
Why
you
are
Why
you
are
in
you-
my house?
He was
He's
like,
like,
stealing your
Are
wine.
you ever
Duh.
gonna tell me how you get through my security, even when I've upped my security?
She's like, no.
And then Persephone's
Yeah.
like, "Did you just crawl through the second story window?" She's like, "Yeah, it's not that hard."
What? Like
I
it's
love
hard?
it. I love her so much. I also am like, speaking of, the fact that Dionysus is ace and other things, I love how Katee just casually has pretty much everybody be queer. And even the conversation, which I thought was really cool, about where Hades is asking her, wait, you're not a virgin, are you? And she's like, no, there's other kinds of sex than like P and V, and that her first sexual experience was with a woman. I was like, this is why I love Katee. I'm like, that's
Yeah, it's
you
like straightness isn't the default. Like it's just
Right.
there. It's never
Yeah.
like questioned. It's not like, oh my god, you were with a no. It's just like, oh hey.
Very much
Same thing,
a
like-
free-form society. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whiteness is never the default in her books either, and I
No,
enjoy
yeah.
that as well. Like we always get what race like a character is, and that's always nice. Versus
Mhm.
like never, getting anything from anyone as far as a description besides like tall, dark, and handsome.
Yes. I love this. Somebody said I've only read the first 2 books, but the representation as a whole in them was super refreshing. Yeah, I love how Katee does that.
Well,
Yeah, Chris says
so
as
there's
a
lots of rep there.
yeah. Someone says as an asexual woman, I love that Dionysus is ace. Yeah, and Dionysus is still like a party boy, but he is asexual, aromantic from what we know, at least the way he describes it in this book. So yeah. Yes, and some nice plus size representation in the second book, and we get plus size representation in other places.
Give me Psyche and Eros all day long.
I love it. Katee is
so
but
good.
then again,
so
it's
good.
that morality chain thing that I really dig. I know Izzy's a big fan of the morality chain as well, where it's just like he will burn the world for her, and I'm all for it.
Yeah. See, like I liked it, but I like this better. Like this was
interesting.
Just
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I originally read them, I read the first 2 back to back, and I liked Neon Gods better, but only by like half a star. And I honestly don't even remember why it wasn't a 5-star. So I'm like excited to reread it now.
Yeah, I'm excited to reread too. I don't know. There's something about this relationship and like she sees past his barriers and he recognizes that she needs to be taken care of that just like speaks to me. I don't know. I love it.
It's like candy to me. It's like, give me all of this. Please.
Yeah, the caretaking in this.
Consume.
Yeah. Top tier. But I love a dagger to the throat, which is kind of Eros and Psyche. Just kind of we got to do this. I don't want to do this, but we're going to do this.
I'm excited to read more in the series. I think it's going to be fun.
Same. I'm trying to think. I felt like there was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, the clothes.
We should talk about the ending.
All of the clothes were amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She does a good job talking about fashion in these, I feel like.
And I love
in a way that you can like kind of see it and you're not like, she's in what?
Yeah.
Because often I am going, no, not that.
And like the moment she shows up to Zeus all dressed in black, I'm like, yes. Give it all to me, please.
I think that also goes into the like plus size representation because you'll see it more with Psyche and how like she's plus size, but like she knows she looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a curvy girl, I love to see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she does that in her Wicked Villain series. Like Tink is the fashion designer.
It's part of what makes a worthy opponent so good. But I'm done.
It is.
Okay.
What did you guys think? Like, so the first time I read it, I remember the ending. I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not what I expected at all for how it was going to wrap up.
Yeah.
Like, I thought for sure Hades was going to literally be like shooting Zeus. But instead, he falls out a window. And I was just like, even the second time through, I was like, yeah, no, this works. This is perfect. Because he's just kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
Of a god. I feel like, a god, whatever, of a leader. So like him not realizing he's backing into the window and going out, like, tracks.
Well, it also just keeps Hades from being a killer.
Yeah.
Like you see it where like when he was like punching the crap out of that one soldier and like he could be that, but then at the end of the day he's not.
Exactly. And I love that part. Like
the fact that Persephone stopped him because she knew he would regret it later, like it's just a sign that she really sees him, and I love that.
Yeah. I still have issues with Demeter. Like, I don't care if she had a plan. Like, engaging your daughter without talking to her to somebody like Zeus just
I don't
feels
care who
kind
you are,
of
that's shitty.
It's kind of reprehensible, and I feel like Persephone lets it go too easily.
She's too nice.
I do not disagree. I feel like we somewhat brush over Demeter's like aspirations in this book in a way.
Do they talk about it at all in the next book?
I can't remember.
A
Yeah,
little
I
bit,
think
a
she's gonna
little
be
bit,
involved.
because I think in the next book we see like a family dinner, right?
Right.
Or something.
I feel like there
Oh,
was
yeah.
a scene that, like, we talked about it at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I just feel like her actions were never justified to us in any capacity and or
No.
like explained. It just felt very like, oh, this is our not a villain, but kind of a villain.
I
Like
agree with
a
Jesse.
secondary villain.
I very much am with that she doesn't love them. Because I feel like it was like once Demeter became one of the 13, like that was her sole focus, and she kind of had blinders on, and it was like whatever I can do for my power, my like station.
Yeah.
Well, at her core, Demeter is very selfish.
Right.
Yeah.
And all she wants is what she wants. And when that got thrown out the window when Persephone ran away,
Yeah.
she was scrambling to try to figure it out.
She reads like a narcissist, to be honest.
Oh, completely.
100%.
Like, because she doesn't see herself as the villain, and she sees herself as being a loving mother who's got it together. But really, it's all about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I wonder if that was intentional.
I do think so, because more often than not, there is an opportunity in familial relationships to, in a way, like manipulate and abuse your family members. I mean, my partner had a very bad growing up. I'm not going to get into details because it's not my story to tell, but we don't have a relationship with their family because of that.
This is true. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's also, I think like it kind of dives into how power hungry the leaders are in the 13 in a way.
Yeah.
Which you see some with Zeus, right? But like, I feel like Demeter's the other example of it because the other 13 are kind of just like chilling in a weird way.
In this
Well,
first
in the
book,
second
they
book, we
really
see more of what's her face? What's her name?
Aphrodite.
Aphrodite. We see her power hunger
Yeah.
more in the second book.
Which I think she's also
Yeah.
a narcissist.
Oh, she completely is.
Yeah.
You have to be to want to be like one of
I think
these
you
people.
have to be.
Like, I feel like it's almost mandatory in a weird way.
Which,
Well,
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of which, anybody else reading this sort of pictures Zeus as like Trump?
I did not.
Not quite, but I could see how you got there.
I can see how you got there. Yeah.
That's amazing,
Yeah,
though. And
I
now
know.
every time I read it, I'm gonna think of him.
Yeah.
I do have to say I like the new Zeus much better going forward, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe he'll fall out a window too. Sorry.
No, he's gonna get his own book. He's not
Yeah,
gonna
he
fall
is.
out a window.
What?
He
I
gets
think
his
she
own
was talking about Trump.
Oh.
Not Zeus.
Oh, Trump. Never mind. I thought you meant the new Zeus. I was like, Bethany. He can't Wow, my brain went the other way. And it's fine.
I love that we're all so chaotic right now. It makes
Oh
my
my
heart
god. Oh my god. I love how somebody's like, he does have a lot of tall towers.
You know,
We're
you
not
never know.
Not advocating any violence, just saying if he accidentally did it to himself, like the character in this book, you know.
For legal purposes, this is a joke.
It's a joke.
This is a joke. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tomorrow, Bethany texts us all that
Like, we got
There's a
sued.
black man outside my door.
there's a man in a suit here. I'm concerned.
Oh god. Okay. Other things, anything else we wanted to cover? I mean, we're at like almost 45 minutes. Like, we're doing pretty good. But anything else people wanted to discuss?
I don't know that I have much more to say about this particular one. I think I'll have more to say in the others
Mm-hmm.
because I think there's more dynamics to kind of take apart.
Yeah.
But because this
I would
one's
agree.
really, of the ones so far, this is the most like clean cut and dry what we expect.
Mhm.
That there's kind of less to divulge and talk about. I think the other ones will be a little longer because there's more to like
Mhm.
discuss.
Yeah, Wicked Beauty's got a lot in it.
Oh yeah,
It really does.
It does.
I'm really excited to reread that one, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to read it.
I'm excited to see what you think about it. It's one that I'm not sure what you're gonna think.
Yeah,
We'll
I don't
see.
know what you're going to think either, Bethany, now that I think about it. It'll be really interesting.
But everybody thought I wouldn't like Neon Gods, so
I don't think it's that I think you're not gonna like it. I think I just think it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be your favorite.
No.
that's fair.
Especially since you're reading them so close together. Like the Neon Gods will still be like up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am a fan. I do think maybe this would be a good thing to recommend to people who are fantasy readers because I know it is a little on the long side. I just didn't mind it. I didn't mind the length. I've heard people complain about the length. I had zero problems.
I didn't feel like it was that long.
I didn't think it was long at all.
No, it doesn't feel long.
I mean,
Like I finished it in a day.
Then again,
Yeah.
I also read Mariana Zapata on the regular, so long books don't bother me.
It's not really that long. It's like under 400 pages. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, if you only read novellas, a almost 400-page book is going to feel long. So
Yeah,
it depends on what you're reading.
True story.
I can't with this. I don't need that image in my head.
No.
Oh man. So yeah, so with that said, we are going to move into a section which I did not warn y'all about this, so you don't have to have anything, but we do On My Radar, where we'll talk about recent and upcoming book releases in romance that we're excited about. So we're going to get into that, but first, if you enjoy the podcast, we would really appreciate if you take a moment to rate and review us so we can continue to reach more listeners. And if you are watching us on YouTube, comment below with any thoughts. If you're interested in getting early access to episodes and exclusive bonus content with every episode, consider supporting us on Patreon. And I think for this episode's patron bonus content, we're going to be talking about some things happening on Twitter with somebody telling us all that we are stealing if we don't review advanced reader copies of books. So that should be an interesting
Tea, let's go.
So join us. And actually, I forget. I haven't mentioned this, but you can also now do this through channel memberships if you prefer via YouTube. So that is open to you if you would like to support us. Thank you to all of our supporting patrons, including our world expanding patron, Stephanie. You make this possible. And we'll also be back. I will be back with Leanna for the next episode, April 25th, to discuss Blood of Elves by Anders Sapkowski, which is the next book in our Witcher read-along that we're doing. So yeah. Upcoming or new romance releases. Yes.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones of this next quarter is going to be Happy Place by Emily Henry. Because that's coming out in a couple weeks. It was originally supposed to come out this last week, but it got pushed back a couple of weeks. Because it was supposed to be
I did not know it got pushed.
That's interesting.
So it's now coming out the 25th, I believe. Whatever the last Tuesday of April is now.
Interesting.
I'm thinking about working at a bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
It's true.
Love Theoretically also comes out in this quarter. It comes out in June, I believe, which is the new Allie Hazelwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't have a dark-haired hero, so we'll get a few new descriptions.
What?
He's blonde.
I'm really shaking things up.
Just a little bit.
This is like pivotal.
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I can't say much.
Okay.
The one that I'm excited about, which I haven't read from this author before, but it sounds just fantastic, is Love at First Set by Jennifer Dugan.
Ooh.
And it's a sapphic, oops, I convinced the bride not to marry her fiance, so now she's going to date me instead.
Oh, okay. That sounds excellent.
Okay.
Love it. I know. I think this is probably me and Izzy both have this on our list, but The Fiancé Farce by Alexandria Bellfleur. Have you read it yet? Anybody?
No, I literally am starting it like tomorrow.
No, check your Barnes and Nobles because we got it early.
Oh,
I have it.
I've had it for a solid week.
And it's actually my book club's book for this month. So Cal and I will be reading it on sprints, like the entire thing on sprints.
I love it.
Nice.
It's so good. And for people who are unfamiliar, it's a sapphic romance that's really fun. It's got like a fake relationship and marriage of convenience, sort of, or engagement of convenience, where one woman had made up a girlfriend using the name of a cover model for romance books, and then that model shows up at a wedding she's at and then goes along with it because she needs a wife to get her inheritance.
Perfect.
It's excellent.
Romance reasons.
Mess if I ever heard one.
So speaking of Katee Robert, who we've been talking about, she's rebranding her what's it called? The O'Malley series. And so the marriage contract is being republished as Dark Succession. And these covers are stunning.
The cover is so beautiful.
Like, seriously. It's so good.
I've got a fantasy witchy romance coming out April 18th.
Nice.
That I know I sent you, Bethany, because I know we were like, wait, what crossover are we going to have?
Yeah.
This is Laura Thalassis's newest read about Celine, who is trying to get into a coven because she's a witch. And I've started it. I'm only like 5% in. But I'm really intrigued because our opening, we find out that our heroine is losing her memory every time she uses magic. And part of the plot is that she awakens a hero who was put to sleep, like a dark warrior that was put to sleep by his wife, and he thinks she's his wife. And it's like hundreds of years later. So I'm here for it. Like, it's either gonna be amazing or I'm gonna hate it, but I'm excited.
Nice.
So another one that's coming out later this month that I think is going to be fun, it's called The Bear With Me Now. And it's literally like they go into the wilderness. Like, he's an anxious being. And so he goes to do this with his sister. And then this other woman thinks she's just going on a wilderness adventure. And they both end up like separated from their groups on their own, and like shenanigans ensue. On the cover, they're literally being chased by a bear. Like,
oh my God.
It looks like it's going to be a cute, fun shenanigan style romance. So I'm very excited about that.
That's
There was
fun.
one other. Where is it?
I feel like there's a lot of historicals I'm excited about coming out this month. One that I just finished an early copy of, I think it actually comes out today, is Verity and the Forbidden Suitor by J.J. McAvoy, which is great if you want diverse historical romance where racism just isn't a thing. Like, some people deal with the racism. This one just acts like it doesn't exist. It's a Black author with like Black main characters, and it's a little slow, but I really enjoy it. It's the second book in a series, and this one is following a young woman who's kind of coming of age in the season or whatever, and she has a traumatic past of like having been abused by her stepmother as a child, and is supposed to find a suitable husband, and of course ends up falling for a doctor who is a bastard son of a noble who is not a suitable suitor for her. And it's like this very slow burn romance between the two of them, and I really liked it.
I need to read her books.
So I've got another one. This one's a male romance by Dominic Lim. It's called All the Right Notes.
Oh, I have a copy of that.
So it's a second chance romance. Like, the guy is a genius piano player and composer, and he wants to do Broadway, but he has like this one night stand in college with a pretty jock boy who ends up becoming this famous actor, and he can make his Broadway dreams come true if he can get this actor to come along and do it. So, like, nice. I'm so excited because I'm a theater nerd for one, and for two, like, that, like, we had one night together and now we have to actually like spend time together in close proximity. Like, yes, give me please.
That's awesome. Izzy, did you have any others?
Yep,
or?
I've got one more. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. I read Daughter of No Worlds by her, and I saw this cover and immediately had to have it. Like, she's like blindfolded on the cover, holding like a dagger with like this big hulking guy behind her who's a vampire with horns. She's sent to kill him, and instead they end up falling in love, obviously.
As one does.
That's
I mean, all I need is that she's sent to kill him and has a change of heart, and I want to know. I need to know.
Yeah.
This is it's kind of more fantasy vampire, and it sounds fun. It sounds like a nice change of pace,
That sounds
Enemies
good.
to lovers is always a fun time.
For sure. Well, if you like a gothic haunted story with a romance subplot, The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox is great.
Ooh.
It's got it's set in like post World War II England, where a young woman finds out that she's unexpectedly become the heir to a probably haunted estate in rural England and a title. And so she goes to take over there, and things are kind of weird, and it's probably haunted. And also she's kind of losing her memories. So she's maybe an unreliable narrator. It's got lots of like creepy, haunted, gothic-y vibes, light horror stuff, but also a romantic plot, which I think Hester Fox does really well. So that's fun. And there's 2 other historicals that I haven't read yet, but I want to. So The Lady Knows Best by Susanna Craig is the start of a new series. I really enjoy her historicals because she has great, strong female characters that have agency and are interesting and good heroes. And this one has like a ladies magazine with a new gossip writer who gets into trouble or something. I don't know. It looks like fun. And then one of the book of the month picks this month was a historical romance, Anna Maria and the Fox by Liana de la Rosa, which
I keep reading that came out this month for some reason.
Yeah.
That cover is stunning.
It's beautiful. It looks really great. And also we almost never get, well, very rarely get like Latine historical romances. That's exciting. Yeah. I think that's it. Anybody have anything else they wanted to throw in?
So I've got
before
one
we-
more.
Okay, great.
And then I'll be done, I swear. So on June 13th,
The bookseller
so it's a little
problem.
bit out, but I feel like it's very pertinent to the conversation we've been having because this is a book called Psyche and Eros that's coming out June 13th. And it's a Greek mythology retelling. This is like, they're saying it's going to be more general fiction with romantic elements, but I still think people here, if you like a good Greek retelling, this might be a good fit for you. I have it as an e-arc from NetGalley, so I'm hoping to get to it soon so I can give you my full thoughts later.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for joining us, and hopefully this was fun. Again, I'll be back with Leanna April 25th for our Blood of Elves episode, so that'll be fun. This has been Chapter 3 Podcast. We're your hosts, Bethany and Izzy. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Chapter 3 Podcasts, and you can also find us on YouTube on our individual channels, which are linked down below or in the show notes. Next episode will be April 25th. This episode's bonus content will be available to patrons in the next few days. Thanks for listening.